Welcome back everybody to the Zelda Religionist, and we have a brand new trailer for Echoes of Wisdom, and I may be wrong on a couple things. So first off, in this new trailer, which is just simply called Traversing Hyrule Trailer, we get a nice long look at Echoes of Wisdom's Hyrule. And though parts of it still look really similar to the Hyrule that's in Link to the Past, I'm starting to think it may not be. We get names of some of the areas that we see in this Hyrule. We have the Elden Volcano region, and we have the Faron Wetlands region. There is no area with the Elden and Faron name that I know of in the Link to the Past Hyrule Kingdom. Those names wouldn't be used until much, much later, at least for regions, and that would be when Twilight Princess came along. So with that one detail alone, I'm kind of leaning towards the fact that this may not be a Link to the Past Hyrule. It saddens me to say, but it's looking like that's not the way they're going. We'll just have to wait until the game comes out. But there's a lot of other things we saw in that trailer. Like what it looks like whenever you take a side quest from an NPC. It looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? Also, the pause screen menu looks kind of reminiscent of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, doesn't it? And there's a slight detail from the first trailer that I've not touched on yet. Listen to this little music cue. It leads into the main Legend of Zelda theme. However, the way it sounds really similar to the music styles of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Not to mention, it also looks like we're getting loads of new outfits that we can change around throughout the game. After watching the Traversing Hyrule trailer, it looks like Echoes of Wisdom is going to have lots in common with Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. To me, it kind of looks like they're taking 2D Zelda as a concept, but gearing it more towards the style of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which I think is really cool. Take the pause menu hub, concepts from the games, and transfer them into Echoes of Wisdom. It's going to be cool. Also a cool feature they revealed in the second trailer, we're getting fast travel waypoints for this Hyrule. And when showing them off, we got a glimpse of the map of this Hyrule. And unfortunately, for my first theory anyway, it doesn't really look similar to any area from Link to the Past. And plus the names of the areas we see, which is only two, is Southern Beach and Southern Village. None of those named areas are prominent in Link to the Past. So, unfortunately, it looks like my theory of this Hyrule being the same Hyrule from Link to the Past is kind of shot to heck. But I'm okay with that, don't get me wrong. That just means we get a big brand new Hyrule that's just ready for exploring. But going back to similarities between Echoes of Wisdom and Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda gets access to some new abilities with her Tri-Rod and Tri the Fairy, such as Bind, which is basically the Ultra Hand ability from Tears of the Kingdom. Not to mention that Zelda can use the Bind ability on her own Echoes, so therefore she can move them around, or they can move her around, which is going to open up a lot of explorability to this map. Like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, when they basically said, here's this big, vast, open world Hyrule, go nuts, explore, enjoy yourselves. It looks like they're trying to give us that same experience with 2D Zelda, and I'm all here for it. Also, one cool little side note, we get smoothies in Echoes of Wisdom. There are small stations set up throughout Hyrule, it looks like, and they're run by business scrubs, and they are literally a smoothie stand. You can take your materials and stuff you've gathered on your quest and make smoothies with it. They took Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom cooking, and instead gave us smoothies. That's cool. We also see, for travel purposes, Zelda can access horses, which is nothing new in the Zelda series. Almost every Zelda game lets you ride a horse at some point in time. But this time, we get to summon them with a Carrot Echo, and then they can come to us from anywhere in the world. I kind of like that. Also, they can jump over the small cliffs. Normally, anytime in a Zelda game, when you jump off a cliff, you can't jump right back up. But if you got your horse, you can jump right back up. That's really convenient. Speaking of jumping off cliffs, Zelda jumps from a very high point at some point in the trailer. And she doesn't take fall damage. That's how you truly know we're back in 2D Zelda, because you can jump off a cliff and not take fall damage. Also in this trailer, we get more of a look at Gerudo Valley, which looks really nice. We also get a little bit more of a look at both of the Zoras in this game. I think for the first time in a Zelda game, we're getting both the Sea Zoras and the River Zoras together. Well, not together. They live in separate villages, so they're probably going to be feuding a lot if I had to guess. Because in this second trailer, we get a bit of a narration saying how they don't really like each other, so we're probably going to have to settle some Zora race conflicts. But it's just really cool that we're getting the Sea Zora and the River Zora in one game. It's usually one or the other. And in 2D Zelda, it's usually the River Zora. And most of the time, they're bad guys. But it's nice to see this time around, they're just a different species of Zora. And they're just trying to exist without causing Zelda harm. But throughout this entire trailer, it's just a nice tour of Hyrule, showing us locations and NPCs and the different races. Then they show us some of the abilities that you're going to be able to access. It's just an overall really nice trailer. Until the end of it. The screen fades to black, and then when it fades back in, it shows one of the rifts on Hyrule Castle expanding, swallowing up the entire castle. Then it shows dark enemies coming out of the rifts. They just look like shadow enemies, basically. That ain't good! It was just bad enough when we had these expanding rifts all over Hyrule, but now they're shooting out enemies. Dark enemies at that. So yeah, that's going to be fun to deal with. Lots of fun. Can't wait. But what really got me excited in this trailer was the very final shot. It's showing different parts of the rifts around the world, and the narrator saying, what all will Zelda have to deal with on her quest? Then it shows Zelda walking up to a rift with a yellow spot glowing on it, and then she waves the tri-rod, and then a light opens up on it, just big enough for a person to jump through. And then what happens? Zelda goes into the light portal on the rift, which means we're basically going to get the mechanic that we've seen before, where you travel from one world to another. Link to the Past did it with the Light World and Dark World. Link Between Worlds did it with Hyrule and Lorule. And concept-wise, Ocarina of Time did it, going back and forth between the adult timeline and the childhood timeline. I don't know how soon we'll be able to access it, but at some point, we're going to get to go into those rifts and explore what's on the other side. And that's all I want to know. What's on the other side of those rifts? Will they give us another trailer before the game releases September 26th of 2024, showing us what's on the other side of that portal when Zelda goes through it? I hope so, because I want to see it. But seeing how we saw that rift over Hyrule Castle expanding, engulfing the entirety of Hyrule Castle, what I'm wondering is, whatever's in Hyrule, where a rift is, does that mean that in the Rift world, whatever was in Hyrule is now there? So for instance, whenever we see Hyrule get engulfed by the rift, whenever you go into the Rift world, are you going to see Hyrule Castle sitting in that world now? Because we know people are getting taken, but can the rifts take structures or anything that it engulfs? Like, is the Rift world not going to be a complete world because the rifts are only scattered throughout Hyrule? Are the only areas of the Rift world going to be the part of the rifts that's in Hyrule? So you're only going to be able to explore sections of the Rift world at a time because there's only so many rifts in Hyrule. So many questions about this game, and so little time until it comes out. But it's going to feel like an eternity. I want this game so bad, and I don't want to wait for it. Well, everybody, I guess that's going to wrap it up for this video, because that's all I can think of to talk about at the moment. If the Traversing Hyrule trailer got you as excited for this game as it did me, let me know in the comments, and we might talk about it for a bit. Do let me know your thoughts and feelings of this trailer in the comments below. If you liked the video, you might as well hit that like button, and if you want to see more content over the Legend of Zelda series, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time here on the Korok Cafe. And until that time, you all take care.